Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters Net podcast. I'm your host, Brian. Today I welcome a special guest, and actually our first out of the Netherlands. It's our boy, TJ, aka Kill All Remaining Life, or KARL for short. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing okay. How you doing?
Doing good. Woke up not too long ago. Had a long night at my second part-time job, so forgive me if I'm a little tired, so still trying to make it work.
That's totally okay. Thank you for having me on here. I really appreciate this.
No worries. Actually, I stumbled upon you the first time because you had actually collaborated with Storm Kingdom a while back, and I think it was one of his Anil songs, or I think he's done numerous versions of that Anil song, God of the Storms.
Oh, in the God of Storms, yeah, that was a fun one to work on with him. It was always fun working with him, actually.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude. Always love working with Justin. Keeps himself busy, that's for sure, there too. So, hey.
Yeah,
But,
he's always putting out music.
oh yeah, that's for sure. How you been recently? What's new?
Oh, I've been okay. I've been working a lot. I'm a production engineer here in the Netherlands. My wife and I moved here from Florida a few years ago, so we're we've adjusted a bit to the life here in the Netherlands. Quite a bit different. The weather's much different.
Do tell. I was,
I've been. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say they actually name a quarter pounder of cheese over Royale with cheese.
I think they did actually. I don't eat too much McDonald's to be honest. I'm more of a Burger King guy actually, and their
Oh
Burger
man.
King menu is quite loaded.
Hey, yeah, I stopped doing McDonald's after they gave me a stomach bug the one time. So I'm Burger King all the way. So
Yep, I always loved it since I was little. It's not healthy at all, but damn, it's good.
that's how they get you. So
Yeah.
you can see it. Actually, it was for a Pulp Fiction reference there too, because it turns out John Travolta's character Vic Vega, he actually went to the Netherlands and actually he found out about hash and all that stuff. I guess how they're able to sell there too. And then he also said the whole thing about quarter pounder with cheese being named a Royale with cheese instead because of the whole metric system and everything. So not sure if you ever seen Pulp Fiction, but it's always a fun movie.
I have. It's been so long since I've seen it though. I think I kind of remember that. I remember a few things, but of course the famous dance scene, but I don't remember that particular one.
I actually have that
Particular.
poster in my room, actually, the famous dance scene too. So
Yeah.
getting jiggy with it. So yeah, that's all cool. How you been recently? What's new?
Oh, I've been doing good. I've been writing some music on my end. I put out a few singles from the upcoming album this year. One called Ghost, and then one called Four Walls. And recently, even Storm Kingdom threw some guitars down on a heavier version of it. And I've just been kind of chipping away at this album. I don't really have a release time frame for it, other than it'll probably be like middle of next year because between work and I'm trying to start school up again soon, just balancing that.
I'm
And I
guessing you're
really
based
want
in
to.
Amsterdam.
Oh, I'm actually in the outer part of Utrecht in the town called Marsen. I'm
Got
like a
big
15
windmills in
minute
there.
drive.
Yeah. Well,
Windmills. There's quite a few of them in the Netherlands. They're more towards, I believe it's called Sloterdijk, and there's this town where the whole coastline is just windmills. It's quite beautiful, actually. It's a beautiful country.
that's for sure. I didn't want to talk over you. I think like I said, I've been doing that. Can't have those long pauses in between.
Oh
So,
no, 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 it's okay. I'm guilty of it too sometimes.
okay. We're all good there too. So, that's pretty cool. And actually, Amsterdam is on my bucket list to actually travel. So, I was curious if that was where you were actually headquartered at. So, but it's cool nonetheless. All right.
It's just beautiful. I definitely recommend it. It's a bit cold and rainy this time. Well, it's always raining here, but I would say definitely like in the middle of the summer too. But it gets very crowded during tourist season.
Do tell. So, all right. I'm actually going to be curious because it's actually on my bucket list. We'll see what happens when we get around to it. So, but nonetheless, TJ, welcome to my podcast here, brother. And the way it's going to work is I'm going to ask you some questions. the man behind the music, as well as who he is as the musician and the individual as well here too. So, are you ready?
Yep.
All right. So start here at the beginning here too. So I guess, who are you, and how did you become a musician?
Well, I since I was little, I my mom is a big music fan as well. Everywhere like we went, she always had like the radio playing. Back in like the early '90s, a lot of Depeche Mode and even some Front 242 was on the radio, amongst a lot of other bands. But I really hung on to like the synth pop, but also industrial side of the music and everything. I heard like a lot of classic rock growing up too. Even in the '90s, you got some of the best hip hop that ever came out. But I really hung on to like the goth industrial scene as I grew older. Also, I really got into black metal when I was a bit young too. It's funny because when KARL was forming in 2006, we were originally me, my friend Josh, my friend Floyd, and our friend Dimitri. We were trying to form this black metal band. We were listening to was the Mayhem's Grand Declaration of War album at the time, and it had like these industrial influences. It was a bit of a departure from some of the previous stuff. It was still like dark and heavy, and we loved it. So, but eventually, like Floyd he had another project that he went back to, and Dimitri moved, so it was just Josh and I. And in 2008, after they left, we started kind of dabbling more into the industrial side, um, more dark wave industrial. Actually, Project Pitchfork is a huge influence for me, and we listen to a lot of Project Pitchfork, and yeah, I just drew a lot of inspiration from them.
Project Pitchfork. That's a little bit. Actually, was that something you came up with, or who is that?
The band Project Pitchfork, they're from Hamburg. I want to say they started back in like the mid late '80s. They're still going. Like they put out so many albums, and I have all of them. They're all amazing. But yeah, definitely, I definitely recommend checking them out. They were a huge influence. Them and Skinny Puppy as well.
Skinny Puppy. You gotta imagine where they get the names out there too. So I mean,
Yeah, they actually, as far as Project Pitchfork goes, if I read correctly, I could be wrong. I think that they were going to call it Project something, and then their finger randomly landed on the word pitchfork in a dictionary. Like I read that somewhere. That could be totally wrong, but it was. I tried to read up on them as much as I could. Skinny Puppy, I have no idea where that name came from, but damn, their music is amazing.
that's cool. I guess what made you move Florida over here to the Netherlands? I guess was it better tax benefits?
Well, my wife is from Italy, and we wanted to move to be a bit closer to her family. School's a bit more affordable here as well, and living here in the Netherlands, we can find work and easily travel to Italy, and it's not terrible of a flight being here. Also, coming back to Florida if we need to visit family. It's a bit pricey to go to Florida here and there, but Netherlands was just kind of like the good center focal point for everything. Like it's more in the middle, you know.
That's pretty cool. You guys had to meet your woman. Quite by I don't
So
know, Tinder site was it?
I actually I met her in Japan. I met my wife from Italy while I was living in Tokyo studying for a bit. She wound up living in the share house across the hallway from me, and that's how we met.
Now
So
that
back
is a love
in
story.
yeah, it's amazing. We love to travel too as much as we can, and we've been to Czech Republic. We went to Paris this year. I've been to Germany with my work. Um, go to Italy quite often. It's nice being central to everything.
That's for sure. Actually, I was in Italy. Actually, now it's going to be going on 2 years here pretty soon. So, beautiful countryside, but man, those roads are windy as hell. So,
Yeah, driving there can be kind of scary, but it's beautiful. I haven't found a place in Italy that I haven't liked. I love it every time we go.
yeah,
Food, oh my god.
that's for sure. All right, that's cool. And I guess how long you guys been married?
We got married in 2019. The first 4.5 years, though, we were apart. Like she had to go back to Italy, and I had to go back to the States, and we had to work on the whole green card process and fly back and forth to each other. It was hard, but you know, it's worth it
That's for
when you
sure.
love someone like that.
Good man. And congratulations to their mate. It's
Thank you.
gonna be 5 years now.
Yep, 5 years married, and actually next year, 10 years we met. We're trying to plan another trip to go back to Japan on the 10th anniversary when we met.
The 10-year anniversary package. So yeah. All right. Congratulations there nonetheless. So
Thank you.
hey, let's go ahead and talk about the music here. So I guess Kill All Remaining Life, aka Carl. So I guess first off, how did you come up with the name here too? Was this a little Terminator sort of influence?
Well, it's actually it's no, it's so funny. In high school, I had a friend named Ivy, and when I met her initially, she asked, "Wait, what's your name?" And I said, "TJ." She's like, "I don't like that." I'm like, why? And she's like, "Ah, no, I'm gonna call you Carl." And Carl with a K, and I'm like, oh, okay. And she called me Carl throughout the entire duration of me being in high school. And when we were forming the band, we took the name and kind of turned it into an acronym. Carl, Kill All Remaining Life, and it's not really. It's actually not meant to be so much as like an aggressive thing promoting violence. It is that people are so crappy towards each other that no one really deserves the great things, the life that we have, because we're just terrible with with each other. In fact, that message kind of resonates in a lot of our lyrics.
Yeah, I was gonna say normally when you think of anything with kill in it there too, it's almost like, man, this guy must really have a hard life. So yeah.
No, no, I have. We've gotten into. There's been a bit of controversy behind the name in my hometown. Like churches did not like us at all, and we weren't even there like promoting anything anti-God or like hateful. It was just kind of like a. It's just kind of a. To them, it's just a scary name. It must be stopped.
Yes. They're gonna say Halloween was last month there, guy. So
Yeah.
so I mean hey, they do that, they knew you were listening to black metal too, so they just found an excuse. So
Yeah.
something like that. So all right. So I guess give us more of the history about it here too. So I know so you kind of know the name and kind of turned into an acronym. So I guess what's the rest of the history about Kill All Remaining Life?
After Floyd and Dimitri had to leave, we started. We were actually just kind of left with like an old Korg keyboard that we bought from a few friends of ours. Their names Rick and Lisa, and they have their own industrial project called Earth Empire. They're very much influenced by more like the Depeche Mode style of industrial, more that not so aggressive. Their music was quite amazing, but they got us set up with that, and we started recording our first rough demo. And we were able, like, we had to go get these old Memorex CDs. We burnt these rough tracks. I mean, like they were just really rough. But there was a local record shop that used to be open in Jack's Beach, and they wanted to display it, and we sold through more than half of them on its release day on April 20th, 2009. And actually, I got one. I don't know if you can see it on here. This is it's very primitive. It's in a metal case and everything, but when you're on a low budget, it's your first rough demo. We were very proud of it at the time, and still like we've come a long way since you know these days. It's kind of fun to look back at it right now. Um, but as we moved forward, we picked up a few more members. It went from just being me and Josh to we had our friend Yubong come on, at the time, and he introduced us to Brendan Culfer, who was our live drummer, and he's also our producer too. So we wanted to do another album, and um, he wanted to help like fine tune some of the issues we struggle with with recording, and he did our debut album. I don't have a copy of it to show you, but that released in 2010, and in 2011, um, in 2010 and 2011, we were doing a handful of shows. We opened up for the Jenna Tortures. That was a lot of fun. But in 2011, things kind of got shaky within the band, and late 2000, it initially like 2011 initially like we kind of broke up. Going into 2012, band kind of split apart. Um, oh, I'm sorry. One member I did, or previous member I forgot to mention. My ex at the time, like she's not my ex, of course. My girlfriend at the time was also a live performer there too. It's just I guess it was too many people in the band and too many personal problems came about. So, but we're all still friends at the end of the day. It took a few years to get back to that point. They're doing their own things now, and I'm very happy for them. I don't regret a minute spent performing with them at all. This or in being part of this process. But um, and while living in Japan in 2015, um, I I was starting to open up a bit more about the music I did to my friends when I was living there, and I passed out these burnt demos of 5 songs because they wanted to hear it, and their feedback on it gave me a bit more inspiration. Like, okay, like I can jump back on the horse with this, but of course it kind of remained a bit stagnant for a bit. I fast forward a bit in 2018. I'm living in Florida, getting everything back together, and me and Josh we reformed KARL as just us, and I was looking through our, some old stuff, and I found this demo that we made, and I was like, you know what, I want to bring this back a bit. And in 2019, 2020, we brought out Rapture. Um, Now this one's a bit rough, it's coming back from like years of not doing this, but um, Josh is still kind of a member of the band, but he's back in Florida, and I've kind of been mainly handling KARL by myself moving forward on a lot of it now. So we're living in the Netherlands, or my wife and I are living in the Netherlands, and I was working on a few tracks that I released in between Rapture and Tractus, this other album that's came out in 2022. I brought out Shutting Down, the singles called Shutting Down, Relevant Antichrist, and God is Watching to kind of promote it throughout the year before the album came out. And Tractus was fully written by me, so there's a lot of my personal beliefs and how I view the world in there. And I really focused on the shape of the world at the time while writing and recording a lot of this. Like, Shutting Down is heavily influenced by the struggle with mental health. Um, I saw this interview. It was back in the '60s. I don't know the woman's name, but she was being interviewed by her psychiatrist, and they recorded it. And she was talking about how she just couldn't stand her life anymore. And I've I've had those moments in my life too where I didn't know any direction. I didn't. I'm not going to bring all this negative stuff into the call here, but like basically, there were some things where you could really kind of feel like, man, I felt that before. And mental health is something that's very important to me, so I try to put it in my music in a way that expresses, kind of like how Jonathan Davis from Korn really expresses things he went through, and he was actually a huge inspiration to a lot of my writing styles and the things I write about. Um, and also, too, while recording Tractus, a war in Ukraine was breaking out, and KARL has always been anti-war in its messages, and of course, I I mean, it inspired a lot of other artists too to write music, very anti-war songs. But like, the song "God Is Watching" was really about like, that's not like a religious song so much as like it's written from the perspective God is watching humanity to screw everything up. Um, and also the song "Terra y Sangre," which means blood and earth, or earth and blood. um, it was written and inspired by this woman who basically stood up to a soldier and called him a fucking fascist in Ukrainian, and just stood up to her and just said it wasn't going to take any of this crap. And hearing her say that, and I don't know if she's alive still. She was doing this right at the breakout of the war. I hope she's okay, but it was inspiring me to like write that, that kind of stand up against the, that type of violence, that type of message. So in 2022, this album, I released it, and since moving here, I've been able to kind of connect my music more. Like, there's a few shops in Utrecht and one in Amsterdam that's actually selling this CD, displaying it, and I was able to actually like get, I don't know, just I was able to connect with more artists. Like, it was funny, like back in Florida, while I was writing, where Justin is in Storm Kingdom, I'm connecting more with artists from Florida than when I was actually living there. I don't know what it is. Like, he wrote me while shortly after like I released Tractus, I believe was around that time frame, and we started collaborating, and we released "In Little God of Storm." A year later, we released another song called "To the Hilt," and yeah, we're still like plotting and collaborating on more tracks. I want him to join me on vocals too for this first song in this upcoming album. Oh, also earlier this year, on the 15th anniversary of the first EP, I released a digital on all the platforms, the remaster compilation of a lot of the songs that I couldn't bring back initially from the debut album era. So I kind of have like the whole catalog there now, basically back out there. There's a lot of rebuilding, especially like breaking up in a band is like rough. It kind of like it completely demoralizes you. You just like I don't know if this is worth it. And um, yeah, I was very happy I was able to bring a lot of this back, and I'm very happy with how the new album's progressing right now.
That's good to hear. And I was going to ask about that Rapture cover where you try to do a little mimic of Mayhem's. I know in Norwegian it's the mysteries of Satan or something, but is that what you're trying to do there, or was it just by coincidence?
This the Rapture EP. No, actually, I took this picture. So all my artwork on my albums are or on our albums are. I took these pictures in real life. So this is a picture of the Whitechapel when I was in London, like the famous Whitechapel near where all the murders happened from Jack the Ripper. So I was like, oh, I got to take a picture of that. So I took the picture, and then I kind of looked at the angle. I'm like, at the time I was working on this EP, I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this as my cover. And the the picture of that album cover actually kind of inspired me to work this picture a bit and use it kind of like that. Like, I don't do black metal like right now, but like the Mayhem still inspires me. I love them. I've seen them live twice. I buy all their albums. Love their music. So yeah, their artwork is definitely inspiring to me.
You had to Photoshop a Blood Moon somewhere in the background right there. I think that would have been so much more badass.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe down the road I'll remaster a bit more of Rapture and I can redo the artwork a bit on it.
All
Still
right, sounds
got the
good.
original.
Okay. So, actually, did you meet Justin through Facebook, or because I know you said he kind of reached out to you, right?
Yeah, we met on Facebook, and there's so many great communities on Facebook. Like, if I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing this, Nixus. They actually did an interview similar to this with me a while back, but Also, Rock Rage Radio is another community, and Vox and Sticks. I follow them as well, and we met through these channels. And he wrote me, and yeah, we just started like coming up with ideas together. We're listening to each other's music, and I'm really glad that he reached out, because like after we released To the Hilt and Enlo, it's like, dude, I want to do a whole album with this guy. Like it's so awesome working with him. The stuff he did with Black Marine, her music is amazing too. Like then they just clash together very well. So he's really inspiring. Like he really like draws you in and makes you want to create more.
That's for sure. Actually, he got me out of my comfort zone because the very first of the year here actually was released on my birthday. We actually did my first vocal cover, which is that time. Not for the Faint of Hearts. I was trying to remember it too because I know we did a couple together. But that was the very first song I actually did with him, and that was actually my very first collaboration. So
Really? Well, yeah, but this has been awesome working with him, and yeah, he kind of like he draws you out, it was amazing, like kind of going into that screaming style that I don't normally do. It kind of showed me that I'm capable of this different level of aggression. But yeah, it's it's awesome. I mean, do you are you gonna do more collaborations with him? Like
I would love to. I think I tried asking him the one time, but I don't think I got a response. I think, like I said, he keeps himself pretty busy. I think because I know he did one with Joe Boone not too long ago. I don't know what he's doing now, and I know he mentioned Black Marine, but I'll tell you that I don't know what he's been up to recently. So have to see. So thank you, Justin. And actually, when I interviewed him, he was doing it out of his car, which I guess seems to be his holy domain, if we want to call it that.
I did see that. Yeah, he said he's always on the move, so it's cool that he has like he's able to just keep this, keep his music going in the middle of all that. It's amazing. I did see that interview though.
Yeah, he's awesome. Still an awesome dude, nonetheless. All right. So I know you mentioned about a couple influences here. I know Jonathan Davis was kind of one. Was he also really big in terms of like how you did your music and vocal style?
Well, I mean, the music style, I definitely want to like attribute to the Project Pitchfork, that dark wave industrial sound. Like realistically, like musically, I don't sound like Korn, but um, I mean, when if looking into Jonathan Davis's childhood, he went through a lot of things. He was bullied a lot. I was bullied a lot, and a lot of us are unfortunately, but the way he was able to channel his anger into music, and he basically took everything that the world threw at him and he sculpted it into just pieces of aggressive art, and it helped so many people like me. I've seen Korn live, I think about like 6 or 7 times. Um, I absolutely love their music and everything that he stands for as a musician. Like I guess like that style of like writing, like that aggressive, like not being afraid to pour your emotions out there like that. He inspired me to be able to do that. Otherwise, I would have been a bit more timid or relaxed, like or more censored. In fact, when I wrote Tractus, I got fully unfiltered on there, like, and I didn't have other bandmates around me saying, "No, you probably shouldn't say that. That's a bit too aggressive." I did, like sometimes I would get a bit crazy with the writing style, but and they were right to point some of that out. But like I for Tractus though, like I went full in. It was completely personal, and there is some tracks on there that are much more aggressive. I personally wouldn't probably write something like that again, but I got it out there like that.
Needless to say, it was a good therapy session. So
It's a great session. Yeah.
pretty much, yeah. So I think that's what made new metal so good. When you think of Slipknot, Mudvayne, even Korn too, was like how much they poured their emotions, pretty much on their debut albums, and maybe a couple other ones here and there. But I think more so with Slipknot and Korn, that's where they had a lot more emotions, all that stuff. So wasn't sure.
Korn's debut album. That was brutal.
More so the song "Daddy," the very last one at the end, especially when he let it out at the end.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when I first listened to that whole album. I played it all the way through, and like it was shocking how it ended like that. But it was like this rough journey about things he went through.
Yeah. Though I will say Blind, that's a hell of an opener. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I guess jumping into COVID right here too. So just trying to make sure I get the history right. So were you living in the Netherlands when COVID had hit?
No, we moved here in 2022, but in during 2020, it's funny. Like in 2020, throughout like when COVID was really spreading throughout Florida, I was safe that entire year. Like my wife and I didn't get COVID at all, and then we were like, okay, like I guess we're kind of we're doing all right. Maybe we just have a good immune system. And in 2021, when I started writing more music, and I was recording a few songs, but then like we actually got COVID in 2021, and of course, like it took like a few weeks to get through that. But for me, this affected me because I record vocals, and it took me months to get my lungs back into shape because I couldn't get through a recording session without losing wind. Like just like like in the middle of like a recording session, like my chest would hurt. I was like furious, but I was glad that I got through COVID because COVID messed a lot of people up, or worse.
That's for sure. I was gonna say it's like that deep space sort of inhales too, like trying to get the breath in and everything.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Just like I noticed like my how I'm able to record now, but when I was trying to record practice, it hurt through half of those sessions because my chest was just so messed up and rattled by COVID.
I see. So I guess was your family also okay there too? I guess were they impacted pretty bad as well?
Well, they got COVID. My mom and my stepdad got COVID. Well, yeah, I'm gonna call him my dad. He's but they both got COVID. My grandmother, she's 98 right now, but she even got COVID, and throughout the whole thing, she thought she just had a normal cold, meanwhile younger people struggle to get up with it. I guess they built them differently in Alabama. She's an old school Alabama woman, so she just basically was like to her it was just like a bad cold and that was it. But
That's one tough woman, yeah.
yeah, yeah. COVID was a strange period. In like Florida didn't really lock down the way most of the states did. Like I was working at a liquor store at the time, and they tried all these strange methods to kind of like keep people distant. You come in with the mask, you have to have a mask when you come on, and it was just a strange time to be alive. It's that the government making you wear masks. Maybe if you stay in for 2 weeks, this will all pass. But no, people want to go out and get their liquor, or they want to go out and buy a new video game or something. Um, my wife and I, at the time COVID was actually spreading, we were in Italy, and there weren't too many cases in Italy at the time. They were mainly up north of Milan. It was like 53 people. And then we spent like 8 days there. And then on the final day, it was like reports on the news were showing how somebody on a train went down south through Italy and spread it. And now these people are reportedly having this. And um, yeah, it was like we were one of the last few flights out of Rome before Italy shut down. We would have been one day late getting out of there. We would have been locked down in Italy and missed our flight back home. It was crazy. Like half the flight was empty because people just wrote off their tickets and basically just got refunds saying, "No, we're not going anywhere." But it was an empty flight home, basically half empty. But yeah, and in Florida, it started to spread pretty rapidly through Florida within that year. But no one stayed at home or anything.
It's like a zombie apocalypse coming for the liquor store. You just see the whole horde coming.
Exactly. Like I've never seen was it liquor and ammunition and toilet paper. Those were the three must haves for people in Florida. That was so crazy.
You tell me. Actually, which part of Florida were you growing up in? Were you close to one of the major cities?
I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, and I grew up mostly in Neptune Beach, which is a small sub part of Jacksonville, kind of like a small town, like right there on the beach, by surrounded by the rest of Jacksonville. But um, yeah, I mean, basically northeast Florida. Half my family's from Alabama too, so I went back and forth there when I was younger.
Greenbow, Alabama.
Uh, um, what was it? Birmingham.
Georgia.
Actually, wait, what movie reference?
It was a
Um,
Forrest Gump, actually.
Forrest
So
Gump, yeah, yeah. Alabama. Yeah.
that was the
Um,
authority, man. So yeah,
yeah. Well, I forgot. I think she's from Birmingham or maybe Bessemer. I could be wrong about the town too, but I think she goes by Dixie Rocker Chick. She also did an interview with me too, and I met her through Facebook too. She's also in Alabama. Bringing that up. But
Dixie Rocket
yeah,
Jack. Jeez.
yeah, yeah, she's done a lot of cool interviews too. Um, but yeah, that's basically where I grew up, Northeast Florida, Alabama ish too. In there.
That's great. And also good to see you and family are safe there too. So blessings to you, mate. So
Oh, thank you.
all right. I've actually only drove through Jacksonville, but I never was able to stay in there. So I guess how is Jacksonville? I guess this time of the year, if you ever go back, whenever you go back, I should say.
Well, Jacksonville. I went back in September to see my family for a little bit, and it was humid there. Like Florida, so Jacksonville, Florida has the type of humidity where when you walk out of the airport, you feel the wind leaving your lungs because it's so humid and hot, and it's only ever really cold in like the beginning of February, and that's only for like a little bit. The rest it just goes right back to being extremely hot and then humid throughout the rest of the year. So I mean, but that's most of Florida though. Florida it gets hot as hell there.
Do tell. So I would say that's why most people snowbird there during the January through March months, so they can just get it in before the humidity sets in. So,
Yeah.
so get back to the music right here too. I guess. What sort of gear do you use to make the magic happen?
Well, I used to have before moving around so much and the band splitting up. I we used to have a Korg, um, an older Korg model. I forgot the exact model, or Korg Triton. Triton, that was a great keyboard. And then we had a Roland Phantom, and that was great. But I don't have those keyboards so much anymore. Right now, actually, held to the side here. I'm using this Korg workstation, and also too for like software, I use Ableton. I actually have like a lot like with the Roland and the Korg back in the day. I have all those presets and those files and those sound banks still saved on hard drives, so I'm still able to mimic that through things like this. So when my wife and I get a house one day and I get a bit more money, I want to have like a room just filled with keyboards. I love like the earlier like um, Roland GX3P style, like warm analog synths. Used to have one of those back in the day too.
So yours is more strictly keyboards. You don't do anything with guitars, or are they all just from like presets in Ableton?
I don't really do a lot with the guitar. I do like a lot of like more heavier electronic stuff. On occasion, I'll throw in a little bit of guitar, but that's not very often. If anything, like most of the guitar work has actually been like in songs like Enlil, like I or like Justin lending his guitar for the heavier version of Four Walls, for example. I myself don't know how to play guitar. I played bass back in high school for a little bit, but I haven't picked it up since then. But even if I learned how to do guitar myself, I have just a weird writing style that's more aligned with like dark wave industrial. So I don't really implement a lot of guitar personally.
Hmm. I see. Okay. And so you're just currently living in an apartment building right now. You haven't really bought a house yet.
Yeah, not yet. It's the housing situation is kind of crazy in the Netherlands, and plus too, we maybe down the road we want to go back to Florida or maybe Italy and buy a house there, just be closer to family. So maybe like down the road, or I don't know. I don't know. Like buying a house in the Netherlands is extremely expensive right now. Like buying a small quarter of an apartment is like six or 700,000 euros in Utrecht alone, and that's just a small subpart of an apartment, like an attic with a kitchen installed. Like it's insane. So it's like the Netherlands is great. It's just right now it is a crazy time to move here.
They lost a lot of tourists, so they have to bump up the prices. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. See, I guess your job too. I guess you said you're in movie production, or I guess what else are you in at the moment?
Oh, I'm a production engineer type of work. So I work for a company called 3Devo, and they build machines that recycle, like they'll chop up plastic and turn it into like granulate, and then they build machines that turn that granulate into spool for 3D printers to use. So the idea is you can recycle your plastic and then add it to your 3D printer for your projects using sustainable methods. And I build filament. I build some of the filament makers too, but I mainly build like the shredders and stuff like that. Like programming the boards. I do a bit of soldering here and there for some of these components, or just piecing together an entire shredding device from like the ground up.
It says you travel all over Europe. I guess have you gone back to Japan recently? I don't know how much you
Um,
travel.
I haven't been back to Japan. I haven't been to Japan since 2015. I was there from 2015 through like the beginning of 2016. I haven't been back since then. Beforehand, though, I did go to Japan a few years prior to that. Decided, wow, I really got to come back here. I don't want to live here. So, I my job recently took me to Frankfurt, Germany, for a fair they had where we had to like take down the stand that they had. But they go to these tech fairs. Sometimes they're in the UK, sometimes they're in France, a lot in Germany. So it's pretty cool to be a part of that process. And the people I work with are great. That's just a big important part of finding a job, is finding people who who you can stand.
That's a good perk to have in a business. So yeah, let's see why. Okay. So I know you were talking earlier about being on Facebook, and that's how you met Justin, and also talked about Vox and Sticks. But first off, what other social media are you on outside of Facebook?
Well, I'm on Instagram as well. On there, I use it to promote my music as well, but also too, like I can't always be writing music as much as I'd love to. So I try to implement a lot of like obscure dark photography in there and use it to kind of promote the image behind the album. Like for example, with Tractus, when that released, I used a bunch of obscure art, like pictures I took, and made these dark images with it. I don't really use any AI type of softwares or anything like that for my artwork. I use like real pictures I've taken. And the album artwork for Tractus was actually all taken in the town of Pesce, Italy. I use Instagram for that. I use Facebook also to kind of promote this way too. I'm trying. What is it called? Blue Sky or something like that. It's a new app that's out there. Justin and Black Marine actually got me onto trying it. I guess is how Twitter would operate. I never had a Twitter account, and um, it's pretty cool. I forget to log on it sometimes, so because it's balancing work and then Facebook and then Instagram, and it's like balancing all of that. It's like I try to like jump in on Blue Sky once in a blue moon just to be like, hey, I'm here. But it's hard to keep up with a lot of them. So the only other platform I have that I log into to check sometimes, and I'm trying to get more on there, is Bandcamp. But that's more of like you go to check out ours. I wouldn't call it like a social media so much.
Exactly, what is that Blue Sky? Is it like trying to help you keep track of all your social media apps, or is it a separate social media app?
It's a separate social media app, from what I understand. So it's like a. I never had Twitter. I've only ever seen what its layout kind of looked like a bit. And also too, I guess the reason I never got on Twitter is because it's flooded with political stuff, and I don't like to argue about stuff. I don't think people should fight over stuff like that, but it became a battleground for those type of things. So Blue Sky, I think, was created as kind of like a offset to Twitter, and it functions very much like it, but it looks more primitive right now. It's new, so I guess they're building upon it, and that's cool. But I have it on my phone, and I sometimes forget to even go on there and check. You know,
It's a good thing to avoid Twitter, or nowadays it's called X. So
yeah. It's. I mean, I get like why a lot of people want to go on there, but I don't really promote a political side in my music. I'll tell you that a lot of things about the government, the way they treat people is wrong, but I'm not going to point fingers at a side. I think people are all equal and we're all capable of the same equal level of atrocities as the same as we can be, achieve equal good if we actually try. So me being on a platform where people are pointing fingers at each other, Trump or Kamala and that, like I would delete it and back out of it immediately. Facebook got filled with enough of that during the elections.
do tell. All right. So I can see why. But I guess outside of the whole political buzz, I guess, what do you think of social media and AI these days? Think it's becoming too much of a cancer, or you think it's kind of a double-edged sword?
I think it's a double-edged sword. So here's the thing, like AI artwork to like make an album cover. That's really cool. Like for example, some of the stuff that for example Storm Kingdom's artwork. He uses AI and a lot of things to help him create that, and he makes some really badass looking images, like some cool artwork. And Mama's Maiden Studio, they actually did a video for our song Ghost, and that came out really great too. Like I love what people are doing with that. Like if they do it right. I know that there are some people out there that are solely writing music using AI. They're not even like attempting their own, you know, putting their own personal flavor in it. Like, uh, I think that AI is a double-edged sword. I think it's great for a lot of the pictures and stuff, but I think that like it's becoming too invasive in other places. Like my YouTube account, for example. Um, I'm a big military history enthusiast. Like my dad and my grandfather both served in the military, but they got me into world history. Like I'm very passionate about it. I love like the whole Cold War era because like all the sides racing for technology that we use today. GPS is a byproduct of the military developing that, and a lot of people don't know that. They when they carry that on their phone. But on the downside of it, oh yeah. Back to like I like to watch a lot of historical documentaries on there, but now they're being flooded with channels that are solely written out by AI. And like instead of hearing somebody talk about it, it's something like an AI program badly mispronouncing a lot of things in this documentary, especially if you're watching something on Italian and they totally mispronounce it wrong. That's what I meant to go back to, like with it. Like I watch a lot of these documentaries, but these people are scripting AI to tell you about it, and they're just dumping it out there. And honestly, half the information is incorrect too. It's like, nope, I read about that back when I was younger. You were wrong about that. And I think with AI becoming shoved into entertainment like that on that level, where people are using it to solely write music or script out things, I think that you're replacing a lot of people, like a lot of good artists out there that actually write good music physically. Or I have a friend who's a reporter. She loves to do like video game reporting and interview these developers, but sometimes she struggles to find work because AI is replacing her field there, and it sucks because you're not getting a genuine experience. Like imagine like having this conversation, but you're just asking like a chat GPT or something. There's no real authentic human connection there in that case, like there is here, you know.
Does not
So
compute. Does not compute.
but yeah, like in the sense that how Storm Kingdom and Mama's Made Music uses it, it's actually quite amazing. But going back to those documentaries, I got stumbled up on there. I guess I miss the days where I heard somebody actually talking about it. and not typing in what they think in a program for it to completely mispronounce, a bunch of things. And I don't know. It's very much a double-edged sword. I personally don't use a lot of AI or any type of AI in the pictures I take. Maybe I'll Photoshop some very like creepy undead looking girl in the backdrop to like scare you. Like what I love to do is I'll take a real picture I took, and then if I put like hashtag look closely, you're gonna see something there in the bushes that looks way too really, put in there. But I like doing that by myself versus having, you know, I don't know. For me, it's fun to kind of edit stuff like that. But that's just my side of it. I really like the artwork that a lot of artists make with the AI software, but I guess from the actual audio side of it, you know, I think it can be kind of a bad thing. I think AI is becoming too. I don't even want to get the new iPhone because of the AI thing that they're advertising with. It's like, dude, there's enough crap tracking me on my phone. Like, I don't need AI telling me that or showing me stuff that I didn't want to be shown.
I had to correct an angry email that you didn't want to send to an employee. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. I heard about it. Did somebody get fired because of ChatGPT or something? Or
I
yeah.
guess I'm not too sure. That might have been ChatGPT, but they made it sound like it was AI, little Apple intelligence. That's what they wanted to call it. So get to it. I guess you're a photographer too. Do you do it as a hobby, or is it just mainly strictly a personal thing you do just for the music wise?
It's more of a personal thing. Like actually mainly for my music because like I love going to a lot of museums. One museum I went to here in the Netherlands is called the National Military Museum. I probably did not pronounce that right at all, but they had a Leopard 1A2 model tank, and I took a picture of it because at the time I was promoting the song. I was about to promote the song called "God Is Watching," and I took it from an angle, and I'm playing around with it on like how I'm gonna put different color in the backgrounds or make it look black and white. But then I mirrored it, and it looks like two tanks mirrored away from each other, but it looks like a pyramid, like the all-seeing eye is there in the center, and it fits perfectly with the whole God is watching us mess everything up because the tank and the all-seeing eye and all that. But I use a lot of these pictures of these tanks or missiles for the anti-war messages, and I'll do them with like black and white filtering. I love black and white artwork, and I'll put it on Facebook with one of the songs that kind of inspired me to take this picture. Like what I think it best represents or which type of song, and that's how I kind of approach it. Like, or in some cases, I would be riding my bike on the way to work, and I'll snap it a picture as I'm riding, and if it's foggy, I get this cool wind blur effect. And then it's like, okay, it looks like I'm running through a horror movie or like a Silent Hill video game. And then I can do whatever the hell I want with this and make it look terrifying. So a lot of it came from like me going to work.
Inspiration
So
is everywhere, man. So yeah,
it's just everywhere. Like I used to work in an industrial area, so all those like barbed wire chain link fences. Yeah, like I'm using all
it just seemed like you're on the wrong side of Chernobyl before you know it. So yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. And I guess jump here into the next question. I guess what sort of challenges do you face these days trying to be a musician? I guess are you trying to maybe get out and play some shows again, or are you just gonna kind of keep rolling what you're doing?
Well, sorry. I would love to get back into doing shows. I mean, I definitely want to. It's a matter of finding time to practice for it. Um, I guess right now I'm just what do you call a studio band? Like I'm just more writing music and putting the message out there. I would love to get back to doing shows, but that requires a lot of practice and time that I just don't have right now. I know I will do it again one day, but just right now I can't fit it into what I have going on right now in my life. But like down the road, like actually when I have a kid down the road, I want to inspire them to do stuff like that. To like pick up an instrument, learn something, and not be afraid to get your message out there. So I hope they get to see me do that one day.
Father-son
One
bond.
of
So yeah,
the, like I would actually, you know what, I would, another thing too is finding somebody here in the Netherlands who likes the type of music to play at live. And I'm not saying that they're not there, but like it's finding somebody who likes dark wave industrial. They're like, wait, what's industrial? What's dark wave industrial? And then they'll ask me, where's the drum and the guitars? I'm like, there's not any of that. So it's like a matter of finding the right mindset, and then you have to find somebody that is willing to, you know, be a part of the same message. I like some of the inner, having a big band play live, and there's like inner turmoil and different creative differences. Like I don't want to experience that. Again, I've seen it too with a bunch of other friends' bands. They split apart like that. But for me, another challenging part about being a musician is there's it's like a pressure to keep your Spotify numbers up. Spotify doesn't pay you a lot at all, and I'm not in it for the money or anything. But when they announce that they want to not pay people per song if it didn't hit 1,000 plays in a year, you pay to be on there. Like to not get a few dollars back a year for like having a couple hundred, 500 plays or something, it's kind of insulting. But you stay on there because it's the biggest music platform. It won't discourage me. It just makes me try harder. But it's a matter of um, being out there amongst millions of other musicians, um, trying to promote it. I noticed too, like when I tried to use like the Facebook advertising to promote my music, I was like, okay, maybe if I pay just a little bit, they'll market it to people who maybe like industrial. Maybe it'll put my music here for these type of people that like this. But no, it threw me in a bunch of subcategories, and then people were laughing at my music, and it's like, dude, what is this? It's like, dude, why am I in the gangster rap forum? Like, I love gangster rap, but I don't do gangster rap. Why am I in a country music forum? Like, it's it's uh, it's crazy. So it's the promoting aspect of it that's kind of hard to do. And I know too, like for example, if you type in KARL kill all remaining life into Instagram, I'm on there. You'll find it, but before you get past the killing part, sometimes you have to go through this whole like, are you in trouble or distress? Like my name has become almost demonetized. Like they're demonizing my name, and people have suggested I should change it. I'm like, dude, I've had this name since 2006. I'm not I'm not changing my name because the world is much more sensitive and it's hard to promote this. Like it's people will listen to it at some point, but um, for me, it's the promoting side and trying to be a part of a world that's fast paced and digital. Like I don't print as many CDs as I would like to. I sold quite a few here and there, but I had to really adjust to a world that has complete like when I rebooted this project, I came back into a world that was completely social media based, and like in 2011 we were still selling CDs at shows, and we had a Facebook page, but it was easier to kind of get the message out there on a more personal level. Now you have to have social media, and it took me years to get used to Instagram. Sometimes I'm still learning new features. I'm like, what the hell is this? Um, you have to know like what time of day to post on there because you'll post a really cool picture and the 20 people that liked it, your previous one won't even see it. So it's a matter of staying relevant and learning all these different tips and tricks. And then you have people messaging you wanting to charge you for airplay time. And that was frustrating me for a while. It's like, dude, who are you? Like, you're gonna charge me $75 a month. And I didn't pay this, of course. And you're telling me I'm gonna get 5,000 plays every week or something like that. And yeah, it's filled with people trying to scam you, and it's filled with a lot of fast paced, high requirement digital media stuff that you really have to stay on top of just simply trying to get your work done and put it out there for people.
yeah, you ain't lying. Especially when you get those I want to say most of the people out of Asia, to be honest with you, but this is the ones I always want to promote, saying they'll get you those views and everything before you know it. So
Yeah, it's like, and you know, I look on their profile, and again, they promote music in the more pop genre or hip hop genre, and those are great genres, but I clearly do not fit into those genres. So what are you going to do for me that you did for these people here? And I just it can be expensive releasing something. Like imagine paying $30 to $70 to put a song out there, and you're realistically not going to see that turnover ever come back. Again, I'm not in it for the money, but like for me, when I've released Tractus and Rapture, people buying 2 or 3 CDs made up more of what I will ever see on the digital media side of it. Even though that gets more airplay, more time, and more people listening to it, they only give you like a few dollars if you get 1,000 plays on Spotify or something like that, probably less. And that's why, if possible, I always try to buy it on Bandcamp, or I'm an Apple user, so if Storm Kingdom or somebody that I like buys, like if they release a digital only song, I'll buy it on there. They're getting something from that. They're going to get more immediately from that than what Spotify will give them in a month or a year for what how many hundreds of times you have to play it for. Um, it costs money to put it out there, and you're not going to see a lot of that money coming back anytime soon. And it's becoming more expensive to do this. It won't stop me from doing it. I'll find a way to make it work, but it is. I can't do like a song every month, you know.
it'd be nice. So
It'd be really nice, but
realistically, it's not going to happen. So yeah, I can see why. So, and I guess would you say that's also tying in with the advice you would give to musicians? I guess I know it was a whole lot we talked about right there, but I guess would you kind of incorporate that into the advice you would give to those musicians on social media, maybe even your neck of the woods?
well, if you're a lot of these younger musicians coming up, they already know the inner workings of social media. In fact, I know I'm friends with this band on Instagram called. They're now called. I believe they're called A Kiss from a Ghost. They used to be called Ophir, but they only use Instagram. I can't find them on Facebook, but they use Instagram and video marketing very well to their advantage, and they're amazing. They're quite amazing. It's they have like this very dark, even darker, like slat, like heavy new metal meets angry version of Evanescence vibe to them. Like, and her voice is amazing. Um, but they use Instagram to their advantage. And honestly, like if you're gonna have to use social media. I say maybe stick to Instagram because it's more creative than Facebook. If that makes sense. There's a lot of people on Facebook, but if you can grow your Instagram quick, it'll help get your music out there. I'm trying to learn how to grow mine better, but my advice to musicians, especially if they're starting, is like it's very discouraging sometimes. Sometimes even too, like on social media, you'll get somebody who just needlessly trashes your music. Like there's constructive criticism, which I'm always glad to take. But I met somebody on there. I won't mention his name, but he trashed my whole catalog because of the song titled "God Is Watching." Because this man was such a hardcore atheist, he thought that I was some evangelist. Like right off the get go, he didn't even bother listening to my music, and he I've seen him trash other musicians. I've seen people say that they're going to quit because of people like him, and you just got to look past all of that bullshit, and you got to know your self worth, and you got to just keep growing and keep at it. And don't be discouraged too if you put out a new song and you only see 20 plays for a month on Spotify, or you only have like 20 followers per month. That number goes up and down, and I quit looking at it. It's like, damn, I only got 15 monthly listeners now. Like, but it says here I have hundreds of plays. Like, how the hell does that work? But it is just remember why you became a musician in the first place. You didn't do it for money. But you did it because it's something personal and you want to do. It's expressive art. And for me, it's therapy. It's why, like, for me, it's like why, like, some of my songs are very dark. They go to dark places, but I'm able to vent that frustration and that sorrow onto that, and I feel better after writing it. And if that song can have the same effect on somebody like Jonathan Davis had for me, that's what I want to achieve as an artist, is help other people and be like Jonathan Davis and how he inspires people. Don't stop pushing. Uh, Even if you see little results, keep pushing and keep pushing. The right people are going to hear it at the right time. And I don't know about Blue Sky. I'm still I'm still learning it a bit, but just start with Instagram if you're going to go social media. Just kind of go from there. Facebook is it's there, but half of your stuff isn't going to get seen on Facebook right now. It's too flooded. Instagram's more, the way to go, I guess. But I don't know. This to me, I could ramble on about this all the time. I've seen a lot of a lot of my friends quit music for a long time because somebody completely demoralized them with just needless like anger and comments. Mainly probably because the other person who said it is jealous that they can't pick up a guitar or have the balls to get up on stage and actually do what they're doing. So yes, keep on keeping on.
Keep on, keep on. Yeah.
That's my movie too.
I was like, he was complaining about your song title, God is Watching. I wonder what he thought of Knock Loose is It's Not Your Time to Go Yet, or the one with Blinding Faith on it, too. So
Yeah.
you'll go when you're supposed to go, yeah.
Yeah, he this guy again. I won't say who it is, but I've seen people like challenge his page. He gained a reputation for being like this. And again, I'm not gonna like trash him on here either. I don't want to ever get to that level, talk down about somebody. I wish the best for him, but I I guess not veering away from him, you're gonna come across people like that, and it's important to know that those people, that you cannot let them deter the path you want to go on. No.
Yeah, that's
People
true,
told me
too.
I wouldn't go to Japan in the first place. I went there and met the woman who changed my life. No, people told me I would never be able to get out of Jacksonville. I did it. May go back one day. I may live there one day, but like I I don't let people demotivate me.
We'll say you retire back to Florida. So, yeah, that's normally how it goes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fair enough.
Hey, actually, yeah, you're supposed to retire in Florida. Yeah.
I mean, that's how it goes. So, I mean, look what your grandmother did. So,
Yeah. My um, she wound up down in Florida with my grandfather. He passed in 2010, but they retired in Florida and had a very good life.
that's good to
Saw
hear.
a lot. So
I did forget to ask this, too. I guess the music scene in around where you're at in the Netherlands there, too. I guess, how's it been? And I guess, have you been to any shows, anything in Jacksonville recently?
you mean the Netherlands or?
I guess both the Netherlands and Florida.
Well, okay, so Jacksonville has, on the Jacksonville side, there is actually a really cool music scene within Jacksonville. Now, granted, it's not the 70s era where you had Leonard Skinner or Molly Hatchet anymore, but it evolved into, Limp Bizkit and Cold, and I love them. Doesn't love Fred Durst. And and then now Jacksonville has quite a few. There's actually a big goth scene in Jacksonville, but also there's some very talented. Like there's a Duval rap scene with some very talented people in there that I've got to go to some of their shows too, and um, like my friend Steven Teckentine, he's really good at rapping, but we really had to kind of push him to get on stage, and then once he got on there, he just completely let loose. It was insane. Kind of like that scene from 8 Mile. But but yeah, like as far as bands coming to Jacksonville, we used to have a festival called Rockville there, and I remember the months before I went to Japan in 2015. At Rockville, I got to see Korn, Slayer, Queensryche, Hollywood Undead was there, Marilyn Manson, Ministry, like so many bands were there playing. Um, and it was, I guess it was known for more festivals coming through there, but they moved that down further south in Florida. Here in the Netherlands, quite a few bands come through here, but not on the scales like say when they go to Germany or go into France. I mean, there's some cool shows here. Like I got to see Gorgoroth in Amersfoort. Like my wife and I, like we saw them and these other black metal bands that they brought with them. It was just really cool to be in that environment because not a whole lot of black metal shows came through the Bible Belt through Jacksonville. I got to see Mayhem there, but typically they skip Jacksonville and they go further to Tampa. Um, Tampa has a big music scene there. Here in the Netherlands, there's some artists here. Like they're there. It's just there's not a lot of big shows that I've seen come through the Netherlands at least. Maybe well, Beyonce came through here, Taylor Swift came through here, but like you're not going to see like a lot of times like Mayhem coming through. The bands I would like to see coming through here, they kind of go zip through. They go into like Belgium or France.
I skip over the Netherlands, tragically.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's tragically, but there is a scene though for like some like independent artists. There's a lot of independent artists, but just not like again, not like a lot of crazy big shows that I've noticed here outside of Beyonce and Taylor Swift. But
a little too mainstream. So yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. A little too many.
A little too mainstream. That's cool though too. Actually, I wasn't sure how bad COVID had really impacted like those music scenes. And you're like the woods and also in Jacksonville here too. So I guess it was kind of a rebound.
Well, kind of like there was a rebound of like so I want to say that in when they stopped when Rockville stopped coming to Jacksonville, which was kind of a bad decision that they kind of pushed them out because it brought in millions of dollars to Jacksonville. But you have like a lot of young rappers or smaller bands and projects that are trying to do their own shows at these small venues. So they're there, they exist, but like COVID shut down like a lot of bars and venues for like they were not allowed to actually perform and gather up people. They only let people in Florida. They let you stay open if you're a vital business. Now, if you have a grocery license, you're a vital business. That's why the liquor stores stayed open like they did. I mean, I think was it down in Tampa? There's even a drive-through strip club. Like that's thinking, like to bypass that. Like that was genius. But but past all that, uh, I guess where COVID helped those bands and those artists is that if they had to stay home, it gave them time to write more material and get inspired. Like a lot of practice. Like if I couldn't record because of like being messed up, at least I had time to actually sit down and write more and prepare what I was going to record once I felt better.
I'll say drive-through strip club. I mean,
yeah, but that actually happened. Like people were driving through and like, yeah, that was on the news. I was like, wow, we'll come up with anything in Florida.
I mean, you have the Florida man here too. So I mean, got the new name for it. Hooters. There we go. It used to be a restaurant. I don't know if they're still around, to be honest, because see everyone every now and again there too, but they took a lot of controversy, so I thought maybe they take up the name for that.
Yeah, no, I think that Hooters. I think that they're still around. I mean, like, I don't think they're in like you're not going to find them on every street like you did back in the '90s, but yeah, they did catch a lot of controversy. It's a different world we live in now. It's a lot of things became very PC.
For better or worse. So yeah.
Yeah.
But it's good to see everything's on the rebound there too, including our new strip joint, the Hooters. We wanted to call it that. So
right. Business endeavor.
Yep. Hey, I think I got an entrepreneurial idea. So there we go. All right, that's all good though. Jeez, I learn something new every day with these interviews. So all right. So TJ, we breezed through most of the questions here pretty good. So here, let's get to some fun ones. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. We'll start here with the first one. I don't know if there's a particular Dutch dish that you're really into, but I guess what would you say is currently your favorite food?
Ooh, so Dutch food is great, but I gotta say like I love Japanese food. I love sushi. I mean, I could eat it at any time, but I have to say, like, when I visited Italy more, just the cuisine there is amazing. Like, it's one thing to go to an Italian restaurant in the States, and they make good food. But when you go to the source, like when you have a real pizza in Napoli, where it all came from, it's just, I want to say Italian food has become my favorite personally. Um, I could eat pizza any day of the week, but every time we're in Italy, like yeah, my wife will like to eat a lot of different things, but no, I'm getting a pizza while I'm here, like a proper one. Um, yeah, I'm actually pretty universal with my food. Like when I went to Czech Republic, they have a lot of pork dishes that I absolutely love, like a smoked pork steak. It's so cheap too. Oh my god, I still dream about that pork steak. Eating outside of a medieval castle, like they had a medieval castle on this hill, and they had this old village set up down below it, and there's a guy who's smoking pork and pouring beer for like, and it cost a total of €7 for that whole plate of food and beer. You need to go to Czech Republic.
I've been meaning to. I don't know. Is that restaurant you're referring to? Is it in Prague somewhere?
That restaurant, I believe, was near. I forgot the name of the town exactly, but we were traveling from Kutna Hora. My friend, I have a friend from the Czech Republic, and he took me, my wife, and his girlfriend. He took us on a road trip up from like Prague all the way up to the border of Poland, and then back down to Prague. So we saw a lot of the Czech Republic. It's very beautiful.
It is also on my bucket list, but unfortunately, we're trying to get some of the major ones out of the way because they actually. I use a travel company called Talk, so they'll take on some of these exotic trips, maybe to like some of the bigger locations. And one of them we were looking up is along the Rhine. It's going to take us from Amsterdam down to Switzerland, and maybe some stops in Germany here and there. But then there was also one in Greece and Istanbul, so
Oh, nice.
that one would be nice. That'd probably be the next one. So I'll have to see what happens. But that's an interesting dish. I think whenever I eventually get out to Czech Republic, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like Dutch food is great, but when you go up to the Czech Republic, the beer and the pork is just out of this world. It's just for the food alone, I'd go back.
Needless to say, we'll have to go on a new diet after we get back. So
Yeah, it's very hard for me to stay consistent on a diet with when you're living in the middle of Europe and you can travel around and see a lot of things. You want to try every type of dish, but then you get really hooked on something. Like if I lived in the Czech Republic, I'd have to be very much understanding of the fact that I'm going to eat pork every day and not be healthy over it because I can't control it. You know,
we get a pork quesadilla. So there we go.
pork quesadilla.
Yeah, that's interesting. So actually, I was in Napoli. I actually did try a legit pizza. So needless to say, a lot bigger than what it should be. So yeah,
Yeah, and it's cheap and it's like you can taste like the difference. Like Italians put love in their food, and that's like my wife, her family, they all cook these amazing dishes. They cook seafood dishes too. It's just out of this world. My family cooks good food too, but Italians, you know, it's in their DNA. Good food.
we quit from them from the Roman days. So yeah, you can see why. Actually, I always made a joke saying like, we don't need China to take over. Just have Italy take over next. We form a new Roman Empire. Then after that, just because of the food. So
Yeah.
that's for sure. All right, but great choices there nonetheless. And for the next one right here, I don't know if you're real big into movies or TV shows, but I guess which one would you say is your favorite movie? And if you have a favorite TV show, go ahead and share.
Oh God, I got so many. My personal favorite movie of all time is Aliens, the 1986 film. I love the whole Alien series. Yeah, I even kind of like Resurrection and Three. You know, we didn't need Resurrection, but we got it. It's there. It was fun at the time. And I hear mixed things on it, but I thought Alien Romulus, was done very well too because they filmed it without a lot of these CGI effects. It looked like a movie from the 80s, and they did it very well. But the 1986 film Aliens is my all-time favorite. I grew up watching it. I always have a physical copy of it. I love video games. If they ever bring out an alien game in the universe, like in the Aliens universe, I'll buy it and play it. Um, TV show wise, I'm kind of all over the place with the TV shows. I gotta say, like my favorite though that I love from beginning to end, and I could watch it again, is The Big Bang Theory.
That's actually the first one for Big Bang Theory. So I know they always did a little Sheldon was or young Sheldon. So
You
was actually a
know, that one's
prequel.
good too. Yeah.
That's cool. And I guess when you first saw Alien, were you kind of freaked out whenever it was the face hugger and the little alien bursting out of the chest?
Well, for me, so when I first saw Aliens, I was it was a VHS copy, and I saw it when I was like 3 or 4. So for me, I saw a bunch of badass Marines blasting monsters with pulse rifles. So I was like, oh, that's so cool. Now, the one that was scary to me, I then saw Alien, the one that came before it. That one was definitely more of a horror experience. So the face hugger thing was more like, oh, what is he doing? The scary part is when the guy's on the table and it's busting out of his chest. So, and then the whole I think the scene where I forgot the character's name, but where she's in the elevator, the aliens in there with her, and they're trying to escape. It's just that I think Aliens scared me more than Aliens, because Aliens was just an action movie through and through. It's just badass Marines just blowing shit up, and you're just like, oh, I want to watch that again and again. To me, I think Predator was a bit more scary, and Alien was a bit more scary than Aliens because of the slow building horror and gory aspect of it.
Oh, so there was a difference. Okay. Because they wanted to make it plural this time, so they wanted to throw in a little bit more. So,
It's not just one alien this time; it's aliens.
yes. All right. Great choice, then, nonetheless. So, uh, so our next question here, I don't know if you drink alcohol, but if you do, what's your favorite alcoholic drink? And what's your favorite non-alcoholic drink?
Well, my favorite drink, alcoholic drink, is particularly Lagavulin 16 year. It's a peated Scotch, and it tastes like a campfire, and it's absolutely delicious. If it wasn't €100 right now a bottle, I would buy one. But you can't go wrong with a good beer. Like living in the Netherlands, they get a lot of good beer through here. My favorite beer I've ever had, I don't know the name of it though, but it's in this tavern. It's the oldest functioning tavern in Prague. It's this dark beer that they make specifically there, and it's just this nice, light but sweet, rich caramel taste. It's so good, and they slam it on the table in front of you. If you don't drink it all, they whip you. But it, it's it was just delicious. Like I could drink that. I drank a bunch of it. I didn't feel sick. You know, a lot of beers that are cheap will make you feel sick, but those are my two favorites right there. And as far as non-alcoholic drinks go, I mean, I don't really drink a lot of sodas. You know, I tried to not do that so much. Um, Coffee maybe, Italian like espresso wakes you up. I'd say that's for those two. Yeah,
It's nice little slap in the face in the morning to wake you up.
yeah, especially the Italian coffee. Like it'll wake you up quick and you're out the door.
I was always trying to remember. There was actually, oh yeah, that's how it went here. It was a movie. It was a Disney movie called The Rescuers. This one guy's like drinking out of the bottle. I'm assuming it's a reference to alcohol or something. But you always see him. He's like, it was always like that. It always seemed like wake him up for some reason. So, but I always think of coffee whenever that happens there too. You're like, just taking a nice little sip of it, and all of a sudden, wake me up before you go. That whole deal. So there you go. All right. But yeah, right about the beers. Actually, I would say the best one I had was actually in Munich from the Hofbräuhaus. So
Ooh, that sounds amazing. I always try to try the local beers there, but that sounds amazing. Like I had Pauliner beer, but from the Pauliner Tavern in Frankfurt, and it was just it's just incredible. It's something I guess when you have a beer from the local area there, like you're tasting their tradition essentially.
that's for sure. I was always like, even though it did make me a little drunk afterwards. So yeah,
Yeah, but you don't feel like crap the next day after drinking their beer like that.
that
At
is
least
true.
I don't. Like American beer makes me feel a little bit sick, but it's a lot of water and this and that. But theirs is like it's just natural, It's natural as a beer.
I should probably take something out of their playbook then. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
All
totally agree.
right, great choices there. And for the last fun questions right here, what would you say is currently your favorite song? If you got one from the mainstream world and one from the indie community, go ahead and share.
From the indie community, I listen to so much music. Um, wow, that's a really tough one. Um, hold on, let me try to think of the name of it because it just came out, but I've heard it quite. There's a indie band called Deer Thing, and a female-fronted vocalist. She's also a bassist, but their sound is quite amazing. Um, But they recently put out a new song and I really like it. And I can't remember for the life of me what it is right now. I'm trying to remember. But as far as mainstream music goes, it's kind of hard to answer because um, a lot of the music that I like that's popular, I'm told isn't mainstream. But I want to say as far as mainstream goes, I'm going to call Korn mainstream and say that my favorite song by them was Hollow Life from the Untouchables album. That whole album was amazing, but I absolutely love that song. But I hear a lot of too just a lot of indie bands I hear, and it's hard to pin one down which one is my favorite out of all of them. You hear something new every day, basically. But check out Deer Fang; they're really cool. Their music's amazing. Yeah,
You say deer thing or is it a gear thing?
Deer Fang, like a deer. I
Okay.
don't know where the name Fang comes from because they're herbivores, but I guess my favorite song of all time though is called Terra Incognita from Project Pitchfork off of the IO album. I can't call them mainstream because they're not, darkwave industrial. I don't think will ever really be mainstream so much. But I can't say that they're I don't know if I call them indie. They're like a lot of these bands that have been around for decades like that. They're popular, they're out there, but they're not going to be packing the stadium like Beyonce. So I don't know what level to put them at, but that is my all-time favorite song from my all-time favorite album.
I think that's why we just make a category and we just call them tweeners since they're in between like indie and mainstream.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And if a lot of people actually looked in, if they had a category like that, like a lot of people don't know who Skinny Puppy is, but their whole message and how they approach the world around them is just very unique. Um, but they've been around for years. Well, I think they retired recently. Front 242, I got to see them on their last show that they were going to play in the Netherlands. When they're doing a few more wrap-up shows, but they're retiring, and I'm so glad I got to see them because they were one of the pioneers of industrial.
That's pretty cool. So, all right.
That is one show I did see here in the Netherlands, so that was pretty cool to see them. I was so excited that they came through, especially in a town close to me.
It's like, yay. He was like a kid in a candy store when he walked right in. So,
Oh, I was what I loved too is I was in there and I was surrounded by mostly people who were much older than me, but they're still wearing the '80s era goth apparel, and I loved it. It's I'm so glad that this scene. People will say that the goth scene is dead. No, it's not. They're there. They're functioning, and I love it and love all of them.
it was a bit more quiet than everybody else. So, that's why.
Yeah, they're a bit more calm and collected than most others, especially as they got older. But it's I love it.
That's good.
If I may ask you something,
Yeah, go ahead.
as far as the fun questions go, uh, entertainment wise, what do you do? Do you like movies or video games or?
You know, I used to be into video games, and I used to watch a little bit of TV every now and again, but I've really backed off. And I still got some video games from last Christmas I haven't opened yet. So,
Um,
that kind of explains it right there too. So I would like to get back into it. So I would like to try maybe doing some sort of walkthroughs or something on YouTube for it. I was really into the games from Software, like the Dark Souls, the Bloodborne. I played those ones a good bit. So there was those ones. I mean, TV. I know I stayed up with watching Game of Thrones to the very end and see like Breaking Bad, and I was trying to get through Sopranos. So
Breaking Bad was so good. They don't make them like that anymore.
practically, there's some good shows to say the least, but they all try to do the same style that Vince Gilligan did. So,
Well, you don't have Bryan Cranston.
and that too. I think he retired too. So I mean, that's it. He's done. So
Yeah. And I mean, after Breaking Bad, like that's the perfect moment to drop the microphone and walk off. Who's ever going to top that? You know,
maybe
at least
that's
maybe, hopefully, like. But I've been playing that new Stalker game that came out. I love video games, so that's another like thing that I got into a lot when I was little. But they made a new Stalker game, and it's amazing.
is it as it says like you're trying to stalk somebody, or is it more like a horror survivor sort of game?
It's a horror survival type of game, but it's set in Ukraine around the Pripyat, like around the Chernobyl area. Basically, another explosion happened and it released these anomalies, and they send stalkers in to retrieve them. But there's a lot of warring factions there, and it's extremely realistic. Like your gun can jam, you have to eat. If you don't sleep, you'll hallucinate, and you find out that some of the things you're shooting at are not there. Like it really tests a lot of things, and it's done very well. The team who made it is brilliant. Um, but yeah, I love video games. It's a passion of mine.
You tell. I would say I think you're into horror survivor. I thought you kind of dig those indie horror games they actually have, which a lot of it seems to be like puzzle solving while trying to avoid monsters, but you can't really fight back against them.
Yeah, yeah. Here's the thing. In Stalker, you can fight back, but you're probably not going to live through every encounter. It's best to avoid them. But yeah, games like Amnesia, where you cannot fight, or if you fight, you can't kill the thing, but you have to sneak and hide, and then try to, as you said, do a bunch of puzzles and hope that they're not sneaking up on you or something. Like it's like playing through a horror movie.
Actually, I think it was Outlast. That one looks pretty tough. Just trying to avoid
Oh,
everything.
dude, they are tough. My wife and I were actually playing through the second one on and off. It is so stressful. It is so stressful playing through it, but it's another game that's done very well. It's a little bit too immersive sometimes. You're like, okay, I gotta go grab a beer or something because this is.
It's too much. Man, I'm gonna have a heart attack here.
She'll pass and she'll like, here, you deal with this. Something's chasing me.
Like some big ass zombies try to kill me. So
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, I was gonna ask because we're down to one more question, I guess. So do you have any other questions for me, or any final words you want to say before we jump into the last question?
Oh no, no, no. I'm ready.
Okay. You're good though. Actually, I was kind of leading into it too, but you jumped the gun, I should say. So, but it's all good. So, but if there's nothing else, here's how the last question goes. Uh, Given what COVID's done, obviously it seems you've been pretty blessed. But I guess for those musicians and people who've been impacted by COVID or dealing with anything else in their lives, like what you were talking about with your lyrical content with mental health, that sort of thing there too, or an addiction, what sort of message of hope could you give to those people and musicians so they can try to move forward with their lives?
Well, when it comes to mental health, that it's honestly like it's coming from the states. You and I both know it's something that's very heavily overlooked. Um, you have a lot of kids that are messed up that are shooting up their schools. You have a lot of people who are shooting themselves. And one of the things that we, unfortunately, as a society, at least on the state side, we have like we have laid out this image that where people feel condemned if they say I need help with something or I want to talk about something or you feel like your emotions are not valid or for a lot of guys out there who are like you need to man up and just suck it up and push through it. Like if you're in that situation, if you're not like an artist and you're in that situation, like of course always like find a way to channel that energy outward. For me, music was my way to do it. For some people, it's finding a video game or something to like channel that energy or distract or something. But um, find a way to channel it and don't be afraid to talk about it. That's the most important part. I don't have a therapist, but when you're listening to my music, it kind of feels like to me when I'm recording it that I am talking to someone about it. And just as for artists out there who are struggling to know if they want to stay in it or not, your music could be the song. Like you could be writing the song that's going to change someone's life for the better. Like Jonathan Davis doesn't know who I am, but he inspired me in so many ways, and not just me, like millions of other people. Project Pitchfork, they don't know who I am, but if I could meet the guy in Germany, I think he lives there still. I would tell him exactly how he inspired me to write the style of music I write. And I think music saved me from myself in a lot of many ways. So if you're struggling with mental health, don't be afraid to talk about it, and don't be afraid to explore ways to channel it. Channel it in a positive way. Yeah, and yeah.
Sorry if I did say something else, but to go back to Pulp Fiction that we were talking about at the beginning of the interview, spoke like a true prodigy.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch that movie again. I really need to like pick back up on it. All I remember is the dancing scene and the scene in the car where he accidentally shoots the guy. That was.
I should say that and the Gimp. We can't forget about the Gimp.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was yeah. Oh.
The conjuring some bad memories.
Or Samuel L. Jackson interrogating that guy.
Oh, English motherfucker, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. English, do you speak it?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. But you're welcome. So there you go. All right. So, DJ, we reached the end of my podcast right here. We talked a little about an hour and 40 some minutes, but I guess before we close out, did I just say any final words? Want to give any shots to anybody?
I want to give a shout out to quite a few people. I want to thank. I want to thank my family. Like, I really want to thank my mom too, because she's an artist herself. She paints like pots and pet memorials and things. But her, when the world told her she shouldn't, you know, quit her job to do what she wanted to do, she said, "Screw you guys, I'm doing it anyway," and she did it. She's been doing it for years, and she's a very big motivation for me. My wife is a very amazing motivational person and has been supportive on so many levels. I want to give a shout out to her and thank her and the people who follow me and listen to my music. I can't thank y'all enough. Y'all are the best part of this, and I can't wait to show y'all more. And I really want to thank Justin, the Storm Kingdom, and Black Marine, and I want to thank Heretic Promotions, Vox and Sticks, Paul Hardwood. I want to thank you too. I want to thank all these other platforms that help artists, not just me, but like just help like so many artists like that build these playlists. And that like if you can't get your songs out on Spotify or don't know how to promote it, there are people out there like taking time out of their day that'll put your song on a playlist and throw it out there for the masses to hear it, and it helps. And these people don't, they're not what's the word, obliged to. They're not being forced to do it. They do it anyway. It's like I guess you know what. Going back on the social media thing, maybe get in on Facebook, but to find those communities, help promote outward from there because they will help you. And
Absolutely.
of course, the thank you to Dixie Rocker Chick for she did the first interview with me ever on this type of thing, and it got me to come out of my shell and talk about a lot of this stuff initially. So
That's good to hear.
yeah.
I'll look for it at some point and see if I can get her on here too. So, all right. And also, good point there too. So make sure you look for a band together too. Which are you a part of? And I guess list out or social media you're on just for the audience sake, so they can check you out and listen to your music too.
Yes, yes. Um, okay, hold on. My headphone kind of cut out there briefly. Can you say that part again?
Just for the audience sake, can you just list what social media you're on too? So,
Oh yeah. Sorry. These headphones are like not that good. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Blue Sky, but I'm not always on Blue Sky. I'm also on Bandcamp. Bandcamp is also a great place to find a lot of independent artists. And buying there, if you do want to buy, of course, a lot of it goes directly to the artist. It's a great way to support your favorite musicians. Those are the primary platforms I'm on right now, as far as like social media and sites go. And I'm on YouTube too, but it's like a topic page right now.
yeah, it's a little different than the Bandcamp too. So that's at least something we should say. So a lot different than Spotify, because I know people have been trashing on it recently. So
Yeah. I'm on Spotify. I'm on in Japan. I'm on Line. There's I think Line's their version of Spotify or something. But I use CD Baby when I can because it puts you on a lot of these different sites globally. So I'm on all major streaming platforms. Um, I mean, I know a lot of people will trash Spotify. It is important to be on there if you can because it just helps. But I think they just need to start appreciating the artist more, not setting high, standards for new artists to get paid out.
that's for sure. But as I like to say, every little bit helps. So
Yeah, every little bit helps. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. There. So everyone, my guest today was TJ, aka Carl, or Kill All Remaining Life. He's hailing from the Netherlands, but also a former Florida boy every now and again. So please go hit up all the socials, go up all streaming platforms, everything here too. Help my brother out there too. So TJ, you stay safe out there because you know it is a crazy world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you.
Okay. Oh, look at that. We got new lighting.
That's really cool. That's so cool. Like, oh, are you seeing this too? Like the background?
I was I never seen that. I never saw the lights. I've seen the fireworks before. Oh man.
Well, let's try that again. Did it do it?
Nope.
Uh,
All right. Take care, mate.
you take care. You have